My first day at UEC was with the chimpanzees. We were at that enclosure. Um, so that was kind of my first interaction with any of the animals at the zoo. Um, I was really surprised at how they interacted with each other and how the zookeepers interacted with them. With each other, they were like inside the cages, they were really not aggressive with each other. They were just aggressive to the people outside the cages. And then as soon as they got onto the island, they were extremely aggressive with each other. And obviously they weren't aggressive with people out there, but like they were different animals on the island. Even in the, I watched them walk through the tunnels from the cages to the island, and like one of them grabbed a stick and started spearing another one like behind them, and that chimp grabbed the stick, broke it in half, and came at the other one with two sticks. So like it was just a very hostile environment. There was a clear hierarchy, and it was like if you stepped out of line or tried to disobey the hierarchy, you were very quickly reprimanded.
Did it surprise you how aggressive they were?
Well, I knew they were going to be aggressive. It didn't surprise me that much until we got into the wild that they were this aggressive, because like I thought they would be aggressive the whole time, because I'd heard stories about people who owned chimpanzees and eventually were killed by them when they entered the cage. So like you hear stories like that every maybe like 5 years or something. But when we got into the wild, the chimps were completely calm and they seemed okay with us being in their territory. So I knew they had been habituated. They were used to having people around. Um, but even then, like I would have expected chimpanzees in the wild with babies to just be okay with us watching them for an hour and a half to 2 hours feeding in a tree. And that was on the first chimp trekking experience. On the second chimp trekking experience, they were even more calm with being around us. The alpha male came and sat probably 3 meters from us and just sat there and posed, and then eventually came closer than that. Like he was not even done there. He came closer, checked us all out, and then he went to greet his troop.
So we were at the Ngamba Chimp Sanctuary today, and Paul was our kind of guide and the director, I think, of the program there. And so we had all kinds of factual information and stories about all the different chimps that were there. And the one that really had the most profound effect on me was the story of Ikuru, who as a baby was on her mother's back when her mother was killed by poachers, and she refused to let go of her mother. And the plan apparently of the poachers was to sell Ikuru as a pet chimpanzee, but they could not get her off of her mother. She would not willingly let go. And so they began to light the mother's body on fire, and it wasn't until Ikuru caught fire herself that she finally let go, and then was eventually rescued. So the reason he ended up telling that story is because after we'd fed the chimpanzees and they'd kind of all left the area and there was only one left, and it was right at the front of the enclosure, I asked about her, and so he told us this story about her, and he said she's really kind of antisocial and depressed, and sometimes they find her just sitting and rocking, and with all the things that we've been studying, it just made me think how lonely she must be, and made me wonder what kind of memories she might have. I think, the more I think about that story, the more I think that was, the poachers killing her mother was her first interaction with humans. My guess would be, how do you ever trust humans after that? She doesn't know that we're not there for the same purpose.
Well, first of all, Charlie's growth is really stunted, so I don't know if that's something to do with just being raised in captivity or if that's a space issue. But her cage is relatively small, and she has no one to interact with other than an antelope, which is also inside the cage. I don't know what kind of interactions elephants and antelopes have, but I can't imagine it's like very substantive ones. The other thing that struck me is Charlie's right next to the chimpanzee enclosure, and anytime you walk by, if you just wave your hand or call Charlie, she'll immediately come to whatever side of the gate you're coming to, and I think that's just looking for attention. And I feel like bigger enclosure with more elephants would be good. It is impressive. She was the first elephant ever raised in captivity in Uganda, and and Edward will be the second. So that's great work. I just wish they had some more friends to hang out with, maybe a bigger space to wander around. Yeah, I think they're definitely looking for attention. And Bruce was telling me about how elephants choose their caretaker. And so Charlie was raised by Bruce and still likes Bruce the best, but he can't take care of her because he's raising another baby elephant, Edward. And so, like, I would like to see maybe more elephants, and that's what they were talking about, is we need more elephants so they can kind of start a family. And once that happens, Bruce will be able to take care of them. But right now he's focused on raising new elephants. Yeah, Bruce he was pretty amazing, very passionate about his job. He would come in, he said, like, he would come in the mornings and at night and in the middle of the night to come feed Edward because he requires so much food, because obviously growing an elephant, there is no blueprint on how to raise an elephant in the wild, especially on a limited budget. So they had to improvise and like learn from failures and from successes, which, I mean, the only way you can do that is if you're actually doing something you love doing, and you're like, he puts in 7 days a week, more than a full-time shift with Edward. And he did the same thing with Charlie, and he has no intentions on stopping.
Edward was found in Queen Elizabeth National Park, which is in Uganda, Western Uganda, and he was found when stuck in water. He was stuck in water. Then a local native in that area had to call the Uganda Wildlife Authorities, who came and rescued Edward. He was rescued on 5th of December 2016, and from then he has been here up to 1 year now. The day he came, I was the first one to be with him. I gave him company. I could be with Edward for the whole day till evening. Since he had distress, I had to be with him for all that time, just to make him be rehabilitated. Yeah, and that's how I got to bond with him. Since then, up to now, I'm still with him. In the wild, these elephants, young baby elephants, they learn a lot from their mothers since when they are born, and their mothers always teach them a lot. They punish them when they do something wrong. They punish them using their tusks most times. They be as if they are piercing them, but they don't inflict that much pain on them. So here, I also do the same. When he does something which I wouldn't wish an adult elephant to do, I do punish him. So I try my best to imitate what the mother could do, to imitate what the mother could be in the wild, to its original mother, what it could do. So to learn, always elephants learn how to eat, start to learn how to eat when they are 5 months old, when they are with their mothers. And most times that instinct, it's just learned. It's a learned behavior, how to eat. So when its mother happens to get some grass, or happens to eat some grass, when it is chewing, the baby comes and gets what the mother has already chewed and then puts in its mouth. So when Edward made 5 months, I understood it was his time to do what? To start eating. So I had to try my best to, whenever I could be eating, I could be near him, most times. So what I did, I could be like eating yellow banana, which a human can eat. So he comes trying to grab it from me. then for me I present grass. Elephants have a very good memory. It's a very social animals. They have a good memory. They have emotions. All that, they have it. So since they have a very good memory, even though I come back after 30 years, 40 years, Edward will still recognize me as his mother. Maybe elephants are always protected by their mothers. They always seek protection from their mothers. So currently it sees me as its mother, currently.
That's why
So
earlier
it feels that I can protect it from every danger.
He was saying he doesn't have time for kids because he has Edward right now, and he had Charlie before. That's what he feels like his children are.